All right, we are live. We're going to have a fun little project here. I've been playing around with this DOSBox. Let me go live on Amazon here. I've been playing around with DOSBox on the Mac, and I thought it might be fun to see how it works on Windows. So I was probably going to do a video about this because I've been having a lot of fun with it. It's a really neat fork of DOSBox, and it has a lot of features that I think people who are, looking for more out of DOSBox, like Roland and 3dfx emulation. So it does a lot of that stuff. And so what I thought I would do is see how it runs on one of these low-cost mini PCs, because I've been really impressed with how it's been running on my Mac here. So, I don't have enough time to do everything I want to do today, so I figured, I'm going to get this set up and see if this is something worth pursuing. William Wilkinson is here, and Rossi Taylor is here, and Matt Roon is here. It's going well. NC Strev is here from Maine. We're all a little snowed in, right? So we've been fine here. We got about 1.5 feet or so. Nigel is calling in from Heathrow again, and Jolt Dude is here. So yeah, it'll be a kind of a chill thing. So I figured I would install DOSBox from scratch on this mini PC that I reviewed a little while ago. This is the B-Link U59. It just so happens to be on sale at Amazon today, so I figured that I'll just put that one up there and you can take a look at it. This is running with the, let me pull it up on my Amazon page here. This is running, bear with me for a minute, folks. Let's go over to the live streams. So this is running with a, let me get the right exact processor so I don't misspeak here. This has a N5095 processor. So this is like the latest Gemini, is it Gemini Lake? Yeah. It's like the low-end Celeron chip from Intel. And they pack a punch. And if you're looking for, you're not going to be playing super hardcore games on this, but it can do stuff. And it's on sale. So I figured, what the heck? Let's use this one as an example. Now, DOSBox, if you're not familiar, is something that a lot of people have been running to get DOS running on their new hardware, because a lot of times DOS games either don't run, or they run too fast, or DOS software runs too fast. So this is a fork of DOSBox called DOSBOX-X. And it runs on everything. So I have this running on my Mac, and they have an ARM version of DOSBox for the Mac. It runs great. So I've been playing through, maybe I'll set it up real quick. I've been playing through Wing Commander 3 on it, and it's like working. Here, I'll show it to you real quick. So we'll do a built-in mirror for the Retina display here. Let me just add my my thing here to the mix. So we'll pull up this NDI source, and that should pop up. There we go. And George is here. Love DOSBox. Yeah, you can play Prince of Persia on there, absolutely. And Strev is excited about that. Mark is here from Maryland City, Maryland. Joe is here, once again, from Apex. This mini PC, I think, is selling for $279 today. Let's see what the price is. $237. And there's a coupon for an extra $20 off. So you can get it for just about $200. And the one they're selling has 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage. And it's upgradable. I did a review on it, so you can check it out. This is the B-Link U59. And it's, you're not going to do anything crazy on it, but the performance, when you put enough RAM in these things, the performance is fine. It's decent, especially for what we're going to do here. So here, I'll show you, I'll show it to you running on my Mac here. Let's create a new desktop and throw it over here and do backdrop. So this is on the Mac. And this is the ARM version of DOSBox-X. And I have, here, you know what I'll do is I'll load up Wing Commander 2. Now what I've done is I've configured this one to run with the Roland CM32L, which was a synthesizer. We talked a little bit about this in my Wing Commander video the other day. And let me pull up the audio on this one, because it's actually pretty cool how it runs. Now, here's the other thing I'm going to do. And we're going to do this on the Windows side in a minute. So I'm going to turn the CPU core. You can actually set it to like these CPU presets. So I'm going to have this kind of emulate a decent 486 for its time. So like probably the 33 megahertz 486, which I think for this game is fine. And I like how they do this. I'm looking to see if they're going to have this on the Windows version. So we're going to emulate a 486DX33. All right. And I'm just going to turn the audio down on this slightly. And I'll bring it up here. And now what I'm going to do is just load Wing Commander 2. And I think I might have a problem with this. We'll see. DOS can be a little funky with some things. Yeah, so that's not going to work. All right, hang on a second. Because I had to turn the expanded memory off, long story, because I wanted to get Wing Commander 3 to run. Here, I'll just show you Wing Commander 3. And we'll do the other one in... because you can't have the expanded memory for some reason on this one. It doesn't like it. And let me get the right speaker going here. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to move the audio over so you can actually hear it. Except, you know, without going through my microphone. So let's go to the new tech here. There we go. Okay. And I'll turn it down just a little bit. Now this is running on my Mac, and I'll get to the actual gameplay here just so you can see it. So we'll do the simulator. And this game was starring Mark Hamill. Is here. There he is right there. And they had a lot of 3D video. I just did a whole video on this, but here I'll just show you the little bit of the video part here.
Welcome aboard, old friend. You're looking fine and fit. Does this war?
This is back from '94.
Yeah, like a pair of busted wing flaps.
But it's great to see you, buddy.
And how is the fine pilot
So,
and Comrade Angel?
It runs great on this Mac, and I'm curious to see how it runs on here. But let me show you one other thing. So this is the actual gameplay here, and we'll just do a quick. Let's see. I'll do a transport one. Let's take a look and see. Yeah, this will work. Okay. So this is the actual gameplay. Now this would take forever to load up on my old PC with the single-speed CD-ROM, but it looks pretty good. It runs super smooth. Actually, I'm going to turn the CPU up on this because this one kind of needed a Pentium at a minimum for this one to really work well. So we're going to turn this up to a Pentium 90. That's what I had when I ran this game. Now it's running nice and smooth. So we'll just turn our chip up here and you can get a feel for how these graphics look. So this is a 94 game, but it looks great. It plays great. This is on a Mac with an ARM chip. And back in its day, this game, like most people who wanted this game couldn't buy it because their computer couldn't run it. If you didn't have like a Pentium, this game would not run. You could play the video as you saw with like a 486 level machine, but that was pretty much it. So, in any event, the challenge though with DOSBox and DOS games in general is that each one wants something different. So this game, Wing Commander 3 that we just played, it needs the EMS memory off for it to work on DOSBox, but other games need it on, so you got to continually like adjust your stuff. So what I thought we would do today is take a look at it running on this little mini PC to see what we can squeeze out of it. That's kind of the goal for today. But there you saw it running on the M1. And it runs great on the M1, like surprisingly good on the M1. Now the next thing I want to do is install Windows 95 on it, so that's probably not going to happen today, but we'll get to that. Zombie Bites again is here. Ed Horn is here. Mark Smith is here. Any Chromebooks with this chip? I don't think there are any yet. There's a few from the prior generation, but I'm not sure about this particular chip. But we haven't seen it yet. We'll see how it runs. Joe loves DOSBOX-X. Charles G is here. Jolt Dude uses it to use, yeah, and actually it runs a lot of old DOS software really well. In fact, we're going to look at that for the purposes of terminal software in a little bit. And yes, Ed, if you are a fan of Wing Commander 3 as I am, you should check out the video I just did on the channel last week, because I did an homage to my love of Wing Commander. I covered all the games. All the games. Now, World Goyim wants to know, why would anyone care about DOS? I think a lot of people care about DOS, because there's still a lot of cool stuff that you can run from DOS, especially good old games, you know. John Mochi wants to know, did the Blizzard live up to the hype? It was good, you know, as Blizzards go, it was a good one. It was not disruptive. You know, we're pretty good here in Connecticut. We're a hardy bunch, no big deal, you know. We had a storm about 8 or 9 years ago, right before my daughter was born. That one was a monster. That one, like, we got, I think, 3 feet of snow. That one took a little bit of a bite out of us, but. And Russell says, long live Telex. Absolutely. And actually, one other thing, when I was at CES, in regards to DOS software, there's a lot of machinery and stuff that still runs on DOS, and they actually sell these little PCs on a board, like they're single board PCs running with x86 compatible processors, and they basically got the entirety of all the different chips you would see on a 90s PC onto a single chip, and they use those as like drop-in replacements for aging computers, which is pretty neat. All right, so we're going to download the Windows version, and we are running with 64-bit Windows here. And let's see how this runs. And then what we'll also do, I'm just curious to see how some of the Game Pass streaming stuff works on this too. So we'll try that out. Do a little modern and a little bit of modern and a little bit of retro. We'll kind of mix it up. All right, so we'll just go ahead and install this. Now I've been running this on the Mac with the SDL1 mode. Yeah, we're going to do SDL1. What's this one? DOSBox supports different video output systems for different purposes. By default, it uses Direct 3D, but you might want to select OpenGL. Yeah, I think I'm going to do OpenGL. And then we have a choice of DOS version. I'm going to do 6.22. So these are options that I don't get on the Windows version, or the Mac version. All right, let's see here. All right, so we'll do the install. And we'll launch DOSBox. Here we go. And what's nice is that it has a lot of the same features as the other one, I believe. So I can do, yeah, I can emulate CPU speed just like we did on the other one. Perfect. So this is kind of a blank slate. And what I want to do is install a few things that I have on my Mac already. Roger P. is joining us, by the way. So what I'm going to do is pop out this hard drive that I have on my Mac, because I copied some files over to it. And I'm going to move it over to the PC. This is another thing on sale today, by the way. This is the Buffalo external SSD. It's kind of like your old school USB SSD, but it works. And we'll plug that in. And I got some files on here. So I am going to create a directory on my C drive. So here's the folder that DOSBox lives in. There's a drives folder. This is internal drive Z. It contains various utilities for making a reasonable approximation of a full I'm going to just make a C drive. So we're going to say, I'm going to make a folder called C DOS, because there is no DOS folder on modern PCs anymore, but this one can have it. So I'm going to grab this and just copy these files over. So what I have is Telex. I have 3 Wing Commander games, so we'll copy these over. And what we're going to do is also configure a Roland CM32L, which is the music synthesizer, so we get a little better sound. Oops, I put that folder in the wrong spot. Wait for that to copy, and then I'll move it. So I'm going to move it just to the C drive. And I'm also going to just make a DOS drivers. I'm just going to move this Roland folder into that. All right, so I'm going to put that in here. Now, the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go full screen here real quick. So how do we do full screen? So switch between full screen is F, key combination of F11 plus F. And there we go. Okay, so now, so it doesn't quite give me what I'm looking for, but we'll deal with that in a little bit. Then F11, F to get out of full screen. Now, the other thing I want to do is go into the configuration tool, and we're going to set up a few things. And one of the things I want to do is set up a modem that we can do here. So serial 1, I'm just going to change to modem, and this will be apparent in a few minutes here. And that's a good sign because it means it's connecting to the internet. This will make sense in a second. So we'll reboot that. The next thing I want to set up is a Roland MT32. So we're going to go over to the MIDI section here. Now, I'm missing a bunch of comments, so I'll get to them in a few minutes. And if some of my moderators, if anyone's in, can help me deal with the spammers there, that'd be great. Roger P's got a question. Does DOSBox support a 360 hertz monitor? That's a good question. I don't know. I believe it probably could, but I do not have one that I can test on there. All right, so the other thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to go in and just replicate my MIDI configuration. So I'm going to set the MIDI device to, and I'll give you a better view of this, to MT32. And I'm going to then point the directory at C, DOS drivers Roland. Now what I have in there, and by the way, I actually own a CM32L. I don't know where it is, but I bought one from Sierra online way back in the day. If Metal Jesus pops in, he can talk more about the fact that they used to sell hardware. But I have a control ROM and a PCM ROM for that CM32L. And this was the creme de la creme, if you will, of DOS gaming back in the day, because you got much better audio out of this than you did with the standard thing there. So we're going to save and restart. And what I'm doing here is adjusting some of the settings of the emulator. So what I'm telling it is to, basically what we did is we created a telnet modem, and we also created the, or pointed it at the CM32L ROMs. Now, what else does DOSBox do? Well, it does a lot of stuff, including the ability to use a 3DFX graphical accelerator, Voodoo as they used to call it. And it's got it set to auto, so that looks like it's ready to go. So that should work. So I think what I'm going to do now is just mount my C drive. And now we've got my games in here. And we're going to do our 486 emulation. And I'll go full, I'll just do one of these deals here. Yes, it looks like I have to adjust how it handles the video scaling. So let me force the scaler and see if that, because I want it to fill up this whole space, which it's not doing at the moment. On the Mac, it just goes, it's going to fit the aspect ratio. Let's try that. And let's see if that works. Yeah, see, it's still giving me an extra room here. So that we're going to have to adjust. Oh. And it's going haywire. So maybe we'll just throw it in a window for now. All right, so now we are running at 486 speed. Yeah, see, it's not like scaling up. Oh, okay, so normal, let's try that. Hardware 4X, see if that does anything. And part of it is too is I want to see what this low-end hardware is capable of, you know, for this kind of gaming. All right, let's take a look here. Everyone's talking about Earth Siege. Yeah, we got a lot of a lot of stuff that we can try out, and I've got a lot of DOS games kicking around. So, Roger P, does DOSBox support 1080p? Yeah, you can. In this video section, you can adjust all of this stuff. I am still trying to figure out how to get it to work the way I need it to. See, if I go full screen here, it doesn't give me the full. Oh, we'll just run with it. All right, so we're going to go into the Wing Commander directory. And the first thing we're going to do, I already have this set up for the Roland, but let's just walk through the, let's try it. I think it might actually work. And I'll put that audio up once I turn it down. All right, now it takes a while because it actually loads like these sound fonts into the Roland. And you see how fast it's running? Yeah, so that's too fast. So we're going to go, which is a good sign, because if this runs this fast, it means that we can crank this thing higher up when we need to. So I'm going to go to like a 380, I'm going to do a 48633. And the aspect ratio is still all out of whack here. Oh, that wasn't too loud. Let's see if this runs a little better. There we go. Turn that off. Let's see if we can. Oh, I see. Some pixels. Perfect. Oh, okay. That might be a little better. See, that doesn't look right either. So I got to mess around with this a little bit more because I fit it to the aspect ratio. It gets all out of whack. But maybe. Let's see. What's wrong with it? Now you can hear the sound difference, right? Because this has the Roland emulation. And it's still running a little too fast. But I can just turn it down in real time if I need to. So we'll go down to, we're at 486 right now. We'll do like 386 and see if that's better. And so for every game, you kind of have to make adjustments and stuff, but there we go. Yeah. Listen to this. This was the speech pack. Listen to this.
I will.
Oop. What? Never mind. You know, it's weird. I have this problem on Windows only. On the Mac, it does work. It just froze up on us. All right, so let's see what's happening there. So we have it as a Sound Blaster 16. This is all your basic stuff here. And we got some people popping in here. Martin is here. Yeah, this will run on just about anything. I mean, we're on like a little mini PC. We are getting an issue with the audio. And I've seen this, and it's funny, this happens on my gaming computer also. And it just freezes up. It still plays the music, so there's probably a misconfiguration here. So let's reset DOSBox here, go back to the beginning. Now what I want to do is let's configure the sound issues here and see if we can figure out what's going on with that. So I'm going to go over to Sound Blaster. Now my options are Sound Blaster 16, which is the newer Sound Blaster. And it could be that I think I'm running the GOG version of this. But let me see what the options are for other Sound Blasters. I'm just going to check my working configuration on my other machine to see what that change what I did differently there. So let's go over to Sound Blaster. Yeah, so I've got the Sound Blaster 16 on this one. Auto default serial 220 for the interrupt hardware base. Yeah, so that's all good. So it could be that memory issue also. Yeah, let's try the first version. Oops. And I'll go back to that. It doesn't remember your CPU. So let's go back and look at the configuration screen here. So I've got, for my music, we're going to do the Roland. And the speech is going to IRQ7, which is what we have that set to. And the weird thing is that that speech cutout happens exactly the same way on my other machine, but not the Mac. Jared wants to know, can I try Classic Doom on it? Yeah, we can grab that. And that'll run fine, actually. So let's hear how this sounds. It sounds great. Like that, you know, if you had like a regular sound blaster, you never got all this. So if you were a fan of DOS games, especially like the Sierra games and the Wing Commander games, there's a level of sound that you missed the whole time. Unless you had a Roland MT32. And those Rolands were expensive. Back in like 1993, I think it was like $500 just for the music synthesizer. All right, let's see if this is going to work this time. I have a feeling that there's some memory thing that I haven't configured correctly. So we'll dive into that next, because it happens just when the speech starts, and I know it relies upon some of the upper memory stuff of DOS to be able to get that speech to work, which is exactly why Wing Commander 3 needed some other setting. And this is not like a DOSBox problem. This is how DOS games were. I had a separate boot disk for many games because some of them required more memory than others. Some required memory configured in different ways. It was a real, I mean, part of the game was getting the game to work. So that is always a challenge.
I will speak with Prince Thrakar.
Give me a second here. I'm going to go
Guards,
our
you're dismissed.
spammer out of here.
Arise, grandson.
Unless somebody beat me to it.
How goes the war against the humans?
The Terran carrier Tiger's Claw tried to attack us here in Katithrak Mang.
Oh, now it's working.
But my stealth flight has destroyed it.
Isn't that cool?
And soon we will demolish the rest of their
So
fleet.
this game, and I did a video
Speak
on
of
this
your
the other day.
plans, not of your toys.
I'll turn it down.
Tell me how you
This game shipped on floppy
Yes,
disks.
my Emperor.
And at the time, my computer had a 130 megabyte hard drive. So you can imagine, like, this game took up about 20 to 25 megabytes on that 130 megabyte drive. So you didn't have a lot of room for a lot of games at the same time. That's why the CD-ROMs were such a breakthrough, because you could have a lot of this game data offloaded onto the CD. They released a version of this game on CD, which didn't add anything other than the fact you could store the game on the disc. So you could free up your hard drive for other games and stuff.
Soon, Earth itself will be in our grasp.
And so the deal in this game is that you were the hero of the first game, but then they're blaming.
Without your flight recorder as evidence,
they're blaming me for the Tiger's Claw, for the carrier, for that blowing
I still
up.
believe that you're guilty of treason.
But they were stealth fighters, and I'm insisting that it's true. Now, all this speech doesn't happen throughout most of the game.
The Kilrathi have
So if I skip
invisible
this part,
fighters. Enough! The court already demoted you to captain. And as far as I'm concerned, your career in the Navy is over.
my keyboard is
My
not.
secretary has already drawn up your resignation.
Okay, so let's get out of here. This is the opening story. Now, the way this game works is you go from story element to space flight back to story element. That's kind of the routine here. And I'm going to create a new profile. I'll call myself, there we go. I'm just going to get my call sign be my name. So then what you do is you go through the story element. And if there was a story component to view, this door would be open. But because we just viewed it, now we're going to go into the first mission. Now you'll see here, there's no speech. And Jan's wondering, is that Star Trek? Yes, maybe we'll try to install that, because I just saw Mr. Mobile playing it the other day on Twitter, and I said, ooh, I gotta pick. I had it. I didn't realize I had it. So we're gonna play around with that in a little bit, sure. Isn't the music great though? Because like, if you had a Sound Blaster back then, you missed all this higher end sound. But this runs good. You know what we'll do next too is we'll try, oh, I got the mouse going here, so let's go Control K. There we go. Now I used to play this with the keyboard, believe it or not. And the graphics weren't great, but this is running really well.
They're attacking us, sir.
And that's what I often said, like with these mini PCs, that if you're looking to know what kind of games you can play on these little PCs, a lot of times this is the kind of stuff that, the old stuff that can be really fun.
Bad, sir.
Because there's hundreds of hours of great games that you can get for just a couple of bucks on GOG, on Steam. Some of them are getting remastered on Game Pass as well, like I'm thinking like Day of the Tentacle and stuff. We'll explore some of those in a few minutes too. So there's a lot that you can do on a mini PC, even if you don't have a lot of hardware. Right, you're not running the AAA stuff, but with the game streaming stuff, there's ways you can do that too. But yeah, this is one of my favorite games growing up when I was in high school. And the fact that I can run this like so well on a mini PC or on my Mac, I mean, it's crazy. It's amazing, right? So there you go. All right, so let's take a few more comments here. Simeon says, one of the most interesting things about DOSBox is getting it to not just run fast, but run at the right speed. Yeah, that, especially for some of these older games, some of the newer ones will adjust the speed better, but a lot of them, right, have a problem with that. Amazon customer says, hello. Hello there, Amazon customer. That's in the Amazon chat, by the way. All right, so what do I have in here? I have another game I haven't, oh, you know what? Let's do this first. So you saw when we set this up, let's go over to Configuration Tool, and I'll give you a better view of this. You have this option on here. Where did it go? Serial ports. So I set serial 1 to modem, and this is what's really cool about this. This does not, for some reason, DOSBox-X on the Mac doesn't have this feature enabled, but it is on this. So we're going to go into Telex, which is a terminal emulation software. And let's go into my BBS notes here. Okay. So let's find a BBS we can connect to. Let me go find let's do this one. We're going to do this BBS that I've logged into in the past. And I like this one because, all right, so first of all, we don't have a modem on this at all. But what we're going to do is actually type in a modem command, because DOSBox, believe it or not, if you set that serial to modem, it will dial a telnet address like you would back in the day with a Hayes modem command. So I'm typing ATDT, which was the AT command for the modem. That was how you address the modem. So AT would say, hey modem, dial tone and a phone number. But in this case, we're going to dial a BBS via telnet. And we're connecting at 57,600 baud, which we never would have done back in the day. And I can hit escape here to log in. Now, what I like about this BBS, it's not one of the flashiest ones out there, but this one is running the same software that I ran back in the day when I had a BBS. And let me just log into it real quick here. And my password is, all right, so then we're going to hit enter here. And I'll give you another view of this. So if you're on a Mac, regular DOSBox on the Mac will do this. And this is how we got online back in the 90s. I did a video on this too, by the way. But I think it's just cool that you can just configure that serial port to modem, and now you can load up the same software that you went on those BBSs with way back in the day and do this kind of stuff. Here, let me find, does this guy have door games on here? Let's see, BBS list file areas. Oh, maybe he doesn't have, education and games. Let's see if he has Trade Wars. Nope, doesn't look like it. Second games menu. Here, I'm going to find another server that we can connect to. Trade Wars, Telnet server. Let's see if I can find it here. It even gives you the no carrier when it hangs up on you. Isn't that great? And there's a, let's see, alternative OS 10. Let's see. I'm just looking for a Trade Wars server. Trade Wars, a standalone server. Yeah, so there was a game we used to play called Trade Wars. Yeah, here we go. I'm getting there. We're getting there. And this is one, let's see. This one just started. It's got 6 games and 9 players. And we got to type in a telnet address. So let's go ATDT. See how easy it is to find stuff? We used to have to download BBS lists and... All right, so this is going to connect us right into a Trade Wars game, I believe. Let's see. Oh, failed to detect protocol, expected telnet. So that one didn't work. We are technically telnet, but it didn't like that. Let's try a different one here. All right, so this one, if not, I've got a few others that I can try. Central Ontario Remote.com, 2002. I think we're going to have the same issue. Because this is running through a serial emulator, so it's not used to this working in the same way. And you can see just how complicated this can get. And Amder Brown remembers Wing Commander 3. Yeah, I've been playing through it on my Mac. It's kind of fun because I can just load it up on my MacBook Air. Even on battery, it runs like amazing. So it's good stuff. CFS does not miss the days. Yeah, and what's funny is that although we're on modern hardware here, you have to deal with all of the same issues. So like we're dealing with here. Let me pull up a BBS that we can get to that looks cool. So I'm going to go to the Telnet BBS guide. And there's still a lot of people running BBSs. And let's go to one that is running with let's see, I'm just looking for one like Wildcat. Wildcat was a fun piece of software to connect to. There we go. Okay, so let's do, here's one called the Battlestar. One's called Battlestar Atlantis. So we're going to code to Atlantis BBS binddns.org 2600. All right, so let's try that real quick. Yeah, I'm noticing like a little bit of flakiness in the terminal detection. Yeah, that's weird. And I think what's happening here is a lot of these are, and I haven't done much with this yet. This is part of why I wanted to just mess around with this today, because I'm thinking about doing a video about DOSBox-X and some of the ways that you can relive the DOS era. But if we have some issues with this, there it goes. All right, so this one's working. Now you can see here, there's a lot of artwork on this, and a lot of BBSs had this kind of artwork. So we're going to log in and create a character. This is the Black County Rock game server. So we're going to create a new character. I'll call myself Lon.TV. I'd like to create a new user account, and I have to do my password. And I'll say Connecticut. All right. So now I can log in, I think. So let's see. From here to eternity, freedom train. So they don't have like, and I gotta be careful because some of these games can be a little on the risky side. So I'm looking for one that has Trade Wars because that was my favorite place. Here's one called Doc's Place. Let's try this one. This one's got a cool opening piece of ANSI art. And this is called ANSI art that you're about to see here. So let's see, docsplace.org, port 26. And again, we're replicating the old DOS days with DOSBOX-X. So, hey man, isn't that cool? So this is ANSI art. And there's some great examples of that. There's a great BBS documentary that you'll find on YouTube and on archive.org. And they do a whole episode on this art form because it was very, there's a lot of creativity. And it is something that really pushed hardware because really this is just text on a page, but the IBM PC could interpret different colors and make artwork out of very low resolution graphics, essentially. Now you're going to see here, right here, this is a FidoNet address. So back in the old days, we had something called FidoNet that allowed you to connect BBS systems together throughout the world. Pretty neat. And by the way, we can put some X-Wing on here because I do have that. I have that on my Steam account. All right, so let's do first to main menu or first to the quick door. All right, so let's put my, let's make a new account. And bear with me, folks. I got to fill out a survey here because one of the things that they required back when you were joining a bulletin board system, there was a lot more. You couldn't just pop on. You had to like pop on and say, "Hey, this is who I am. Would you let me in?" And it wasn't guaranteed that you would be let into the BBS. All right. And what's neat is that let's go with that. All right, so now we're going to go into here. And now here's our menu. So what we're going to look for here are door games. And they called them doors because they were separate pieces of software. Sorry, that command is not listed. It is listed. Page user bulletins menu. Maybe I have to get approved. A lot of times they won't let you do stuff until you've been like approved by the sysop. So the bulletin one works. Yeah, doors doesn't seem to work. I bet you my files works. But you get the sense as to how all of this worked. All right, so there you go. That's that. All right, so good news is I got a starting point on the bulletin board system stuff. Brittany Marie wants to know what mini PC is this? This is the U-Link U59. And it's on sale at Amazon. I think you can get it for like around $200 with 8 gigs of RAM. I reviewed this a while ago, and my impetus in just messing around with this today is that I've been meaning to do a video about DOSBOX-X. I'm still trying to get everything set up the way I want, but I think it's a great use case for a PC of this type because DOSBOX-X will kind of replicate a high-end PC from the late 90s and supports 3GFX and the Roland MT32 and everything else, and you've got it all in there. So good stuff. Let me log into my Steam account, though, because there were some people looking for X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, which I think this would probably run pretty well. And what I'm also going to do is get my 8BitDo controller paired up here, too. So let's get that going. I'm just going to do it over Bluetooth, and we'll mess around with that. Maybe we'll do a little Game Pass and see what we can run on Game Pass on this thing, just to get it set up and working. Let's go over to Bluetooth, and I'm going to add a Bluetooth device, and we'll just connect our game controller here. So this, of course, will not replace a gaming PC by any stretch, but these Intel machines are really good at video. not video games necessarily, but because they're good at video, they're good at streaming games. So there's a lot that you can do there. All right, and I'm going into Steam just because that's where I have X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. I don't think I bought that on GOG. Maybe I did. Let me take a look, because if I'm not mistaken, X-Wing also supported... I have games everywhere. I've bought them in too many places at this point. Yeah, I don't have it on GOG. So because it's Windows, we can run Steam very easily on here. So let's go over to my games, and we'll type in X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. And X-Wing Special Edition, X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. So we'll hit install. And it's only 390 megabytes. But you look at the escalation here of the fact that like Wing Commander 2 in 1992, yeah, 92, was 20, 30 megabytes. And then we go to these huge games because at that point the CD-ROM was more available. Ooh, the OG Mech Warrior. I've got that one somewhere too. I remember buying that game in a big box. Let's see if I can find it. All right. Let's see here. So that should be installed already. Yep. And let's play it, see what happens. And I think what this will do, what a lot of these ports of these old DOS games will do, if you buy them from GOG or from Steam, is they actually run DOSBox. So you're going to see a version of DOSBox load here. And what's fun is that when you extract them from their wrappers, so here's a great example. Wing Commander 2 and 1 and 3 from GOG, while they have the code to support the Roland, because Roland has its own custom ROMs, it doesn't support the Roland audio in the package that they deliver to you. But on GOG, because it's all DRM free, you pull the files out, and then you install it through your other DOSBox, and boom, it works, like with all the stuff. All right, let's see what our advanced options are here. So this, oh, that's right, I forgot this ran in... Okay, so let's go... Oops. Let's go done. Let's just play it. I'm guessing they've configured this for this. I'm going to turn the music off because we're going to end up with copyright, you know what. But we'll turn it back on when we get into the game. Yeah, see here it's all orchestral music. So at this point they'd moved away from the oh, look at that, I'm already... And by the way, the other neat thing about GOG and Steam is that it will store, even like these older games, will sync your save games up and stuff, which is really cool. All right. Let's fly solo here. Here's some melees. We'll do one of these. Destroy as many rival pilots as you can. I'm all for that. Let's begin. Yep, X-Wing is good for me. I was playing Star Wars Squadrons in VR over the weekend. I had about 10 minutes where the kids were occupied, so I tossed on my Quest headset. It is awesome. Look at this, my controller works. Here, I'll turn the audio on here. All right, so where's the enemy? Bring him on. But this runs great. You see how nice this runs? That's an old game, but it runs nicely. I never fly in a straight line for more than a few seconds, it says. So where's the enemy here? I hit the autopilot or something? Let's see, destroy 7, okay. So I see battles here, but I don't see... They're all getting, like, destroyed, but I don't know who... Oh, I see, you're fighting against other X-Wings. All right. I think that's who I'm supposed to be fighting against here. There we go. Is there an afterburner in this? But it runs good. And again, not a new game, but there are tons of games like this that you can play on an old mini PC, or new mini PC like this. And look how smooth it runs. Like to get this, so when this game came out, this would have been, to get this level of smoothness, you would have been, you would have had a pretty expensive computer. My gun's overheated. There you go. Good stuff. All right. How do I get out of here? I think there we go. That's one way to get out of here. So there you go. And this is a pre-packaged Steam game, by the way, so you don't need to do anything like we just went through with DOSBox. You don't have to do here, because this one just comes ready to go. If I can figure out how to get out of the darn thing. Let's see. Escape doesn't seem to work. Start. Nope. Get me out of here. Let's see. Maybe my keyboard turned off. Countermeasures. Let's see, maybe it's an F key or something. Oops. See, now I'm gonna totally break it. So usually escape is like a way to get to the menu. There we go. Okay. And if you want a modern incarnation of this, Squadrons is amazing. Like it takes, I think it takes the best of all these old games, but adds obviously a modern engine to it, and the VR, if you have a VR headset, is ridiculous. Britt wants to know what BBS software. So I ran Maximus, and primarily because the boards that I logged into back then were all running Maximus at that point. So that's what I was using primarily. Let me see what else I've got in the hopper here that we could try out. I'm trying to see what we can do that can like demonstrate. Let me get Game Pass working on here, because there are some like games that you could get now that are functional. So let me pull up the Xbox app here. Maybe I have to switch my account over. And then I got to run in a little bit and get tonight's video up and running. So I still have a little bit of work to do on DOSBox on this, but I think we're getting there. And DOSBox-X so far runs really well. Oh, you know what we got to try still? I got to find a game that runs with 3DFX so that we can try that out. What I really want to do, and this is possible, DOSBox-X will allow you to install Windows 95, so you could run, theoretically, Windows 95 games that support 3DFX. All right, let me see if I can find a demo that, okay, so Descent 2, that'd be a good one to try, wouldn't it? They have a demo up on playable demo installed in MS-DOS. All right, let's give this one a shot, because it apparently supports 3DFX here. So we'll give that one a go in a minute. But in the meantime, we're going to do a little Game Pass. And I got some requests for Wolfenstein, which I know will run fine on this. And we had a request for Doom also, so we will look at both of those in a second. And I need to sign in on my other accounts. Bear with me, folks. And I will say, like, this is running a little, this Game Pass app is running a little sluggish. But this is just the app to get you into stuff. But I think it's because it's loading up this thing to log me in. So we're going to try that real quick. All right, so let me switch accounts. I've got so many Microsoft accounts, or so many things logged into my Microsoft account. And what's my password? Hang on for a second, folks. Gotta check my Got a bunch of new followers, by the way. I got 3 Amazon customers, PXCVN2013 and Jason. Thank you all for the follows. Yeah, we're just messing around with a little mini PC to see what we can squeeze out of it. And it's on sale today, so that was actually, I was going to run DOSBox on this anyhow, and it's like on sale on Amazon. I was like, oh, what the heck, we'll just do a live stream today while we're closing out the month. All right, so let's do this here. Bear with me, folks, for 1 second. Okay, that's what I thought it was. And I need to type that in. And then I got to type in my 2-factor code here. And we'll verify that. Okay. Do that one. And now we should be in. Yep, there we go. Perfect. So let's play. And what I'm going to do here is find a game on Game Pass. And New World is joining us on Amazon. And Carlos D is following me. And New World wants to know, what are we doing? Well, we're playing around with a mini PC. And what I thought we would do is just kind of see, like, what could we run off of the PC Game Pass on this that we don't have to necessarily stream. And there's not much, like the AAA titles, forget it. But there are some things that can be played. So what I'm going to look for first is in the PC Game Pass section. So let's go over to Game Pass. And we're going to do the cloud gaming in a minute, but there are things that I think will run nicely on this. Obviously, Among Us will run. We know that that's the case. Like Battlefield and that sort of stuff, probably not. Burnout Paradise, maybe. Command & Conquer probably will. PC Game Pass works great. It's a little on the rough side if you do the EA stuff because you have to install the EA thing and then yada yada. But I wanted to try this one. This is Day of the Tentacle Remastered. I'm pretty sure that one's going to run. Let's see what else. Like Doom Eternal, forget it. Oh, there was a question. Doom, here you go. Let's put that on there. Because Doom is on Game Pass. And I'm curious to see how it's going to run this, if it's going to load DOSBox or they have some Windows thing kind of going on that. I still have Doom 2 on a CD-ROM from '94 that I bought back then. Again, just to get the full game and have it run off the CD. I think some of these older Fallout games will probably run. Forza 5, forget it, right? But some of the other ones will. Just trying to see what else is on here that we can play around with. I bet you the original Mass Effect you might be able to pull that off. Here's MechWarrior 5. I don't think that's going to run. Minecraft we know runs, right? That's right. Minecraft is now on Game Pass. Just trying to see what else is here. I got some requests for Descent. Yeah, so we'll give Descent a go in a minute. Let me grab the demo. So let's see if it downloaded. It doesn't look like it's downloading it. I'll start downloading Descent. There we go. Okay. And what I'll do here is just throw it on my NAS. And Ron is joining us from Dallas. Hi there, Ron. Likens Me Now is following me also. Got a lot of Amazon traffic today, which is great. Master Billy wants to know, how modern of a game can you realistically run on this? I would say the cutoff here is like 2006-ish. So, you know, that Unreal would probably run okay on this, the original Unreal. Unreal Tournament, maybe, is that what it was called? Half-Life 2, you know, stuff from like 2006 backwards is the sweet spot on this. And you know, it's got a little mini GPU. It's an Intel GPU, but it's got a little mini GPU in it. So it can do this kind of stuff. Here's Doom. This one will run great because it's Doom. And this ran on similar hardware to what we had before. I'm curious to see how they implemented this through Game Pass. And maybe they just kind of developed their own like DOS level emulator or something. But let's see. It had the best music too. Dun, 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 right? It was a lot of fun. It looks like we're getting more snow possibly this weekend. How about that? All right, so here, oh, actually it runs pretty good. Let's hear what we're getting for sound out of this. So it's like, it runs widescreen. Let's see. It does take longer to load than the original. Oh, I have to validate my Xbox account here. Hang on a second. Okay, let's turn that off for a second here. This needs to, okay. So this is PC Game Pass. So there's like more options now, right? We'll do Hurt Me Plenty. Oh yeah, it's got the real music. Here, listen. Oh yeah. I forgot how to play. I think we played with. I'm playing with the mouse, but that's not how I used to play this game. Yeah, it runs great. And it's you know, widescreen, so you know, obviously the original was like 4:3, and the sound is definitely enhanced because back in the day it only played. So I'm hearing like, hear those drums? So you didn't have that on the Sound Blaster. It was more of a twangy FM synthesis kind of thing. So yeah, pretty good. I was supposed to get the shotgun somewhere, wasn't I? And people have no idea like what this game did because it ran I had a 486-33 at the time, and it ran exceptionally well on that. And my friends came over and like, oh my gosh, we had never seen anything like this before. It was just that amazing. So that's Game Pass Doom, which is the newer one. But that works great. All right, let's see if Day of the Tentacle is done. And they did a great job on Day of the Tentacle Remastered. That one's really, really good. All right, so let's quit this and see if that finished downloading. Yeah, it did. So let's take a look and see. I'm curious to see if this will run. Now, this is kind of neat how they implemented it. This is a point-and-click adventure. I actually met the guy that designed this game. He's also made a new game just not that long ago. It was a Kickstarter. And this doesn't even run full screen. How about that? Can we go full screen? I'm sure we can adjust the... This is a fun game. This was a CD-ROM talkie. Again, another one you'll find on Game Pass. And it's taking up the data there. Okay, so let's go to options here. I can set the music auto. I'm just trying to see if I can get the game to run full screen. It looks like it's about the best I'm going to get here at the moment. This is on the Xbox also. Now, I think there's a key command. Let's see, controls. So you can go back and forth between... Yeah, select push. Oh, so you can play the original Maniac Mansion on here too. So this was a follow-up. And if I hit the select button, that will... Oh, switch render mode is F1. Okay, this is what's kind of cool about this. So we're going to go into... Do I have a save game? I think I do. I guess I don't. Yeah, don't have a save game yet. Here, I'll just start the main game. And they have developers commentary. So they redid the artwork from the original. And there's a, I forgot where it was, but there was something on YouTube where they stepped through the process that they went through with this. Now here's what's cool. If I hit F1, so you can see what it used to look like, and it's seamless. Yeah, I'll pull up on a full screen view here. So you can see the difference here between, oh, a little laggy there, hang on, go back. I should be playing some animation now. I think I upset it. Okay, let's try it again here, hang on. And this is one of those things you run into with these mini PCs, is that sometimes you upset the mini PC. So this is the remastered version. That is the original. And it's seamless. And a lot of these remasters do this.
So did we already introduce ourselves? Should we do it again for real? Who's going to start? Peter.
Now what you can do is play through the game here with the director's commentary or the developer's commentary, which is kind of cool.
Right?
Yes, I did, yes.
Okay.
All right, let me start this again here.
Larry,
I think I screwed up the graphics here. Let's try a new game without their commentary. All right, one more time. I had a lot of fun with this one. I had this game over, this came out during the summer, I remember, so it was on CD-ROM. So it was just one of those games where you just kind of play through. Great artwork. Again, all remastered for high-resolution displays. This seems to be running pretty well.
I'm thirsty.
I don't think you should drink that.
This was another early CD-ROM game, so a lot of these games were available on floppies, and then they had these talkie versions you could get on CD-ROM.
Makes me feel great. Smarter. More aggressive. I feel like I could. Like I could. Like I could.
And Eyes of Bies, Brutal Doom is awesome. It's crazy intense, right? I installed that. Actually, I have that on my Mac somewhere. I have to see if I can find it again. But it's amazing. You don't appreciate like how, like you remembered the game looking like this back when you played it as a kid.
I think I need that for the band.
But it really looked like this. But I remembered it like that. So it's funny when you first play this after all these years. It's like, oh, that's exactly how I remembered it until you hit the thing, and it's like, oh my gosh, that's what it really looked like. But you look at all the artwork they had to fill in, right? Because back in the day, we were using those, 4x3 displays.
Green Tentacle. He says that
so they had to redraw the artwork, and they actually kind of added, I think, their own style on this remaster. Because you can see there's a little more, it's a little smoother, and and cleaner.
I thought I was free of Dr. Fred and those crazy Edisons forever.
So they kind of redid the whole thing.
But now,
but this is a great game that runs great on a little mini PC like this. That's right, Aaron Bosser, it says Doom ran on a... That's right, Doom can run on anything, absolutely. No question about that. All right, so Game Pass seems to work. Now, another neat thing about Game Pass, and I've got to run in a few minutes here because I still have to get tonight's video uploaded. Another neat thing about Game Pass is that you have cloud gaming. And one of the neat things about these Intel PCs is that they do video exceptionally well. So even though they can't run Forza 5, for example, directly, I can stream it. Oops. Except when it doesn't go there. Hang on, let's go back to Game Pass. And we're going to go over here to Cloud Gaming. And this is kind of where having, a Game Pass. So you need Game Pass Ultimate for this. But I'm on like low-end hardware here. We're going to stream Forza 5 from Microsoft, and it will bring me back to where I left off on my console earlier. Looks good though, doesn't it? Now again, this is not running natively on this. We are streaming it. And you'll see some artifacts and stuff in there. Xbox does not use a super high bit rate for this service, so it's designed for the most part to be run on mobile phones. But now you can actually just stream it to yourself here. Let's go. I always forget how to get into this game. Back out to... All right, let's go drive here. I'll take the Bronco out for a spin. And again, this is streaming on Game Pass. So if you can't afford an Xbox or you don't really want to buy one, if you have a Game Pass account, you know, let me turn it down a little bit. If you have a Game Pass account, you get a little bit of lag, but not much. I'm not even using an official Xbox controller here either. It seems to be working fine with this. This has analog triggers on it too, by the way. But I think it looks pretty good. I'll give you a full view here. And this is the full game, streaming from Microsoft, and then wherever I leave off, if I save my game, it will sync up with my PC and my console. Master Billy wants to know, am I on Wi-Fi or Ethernet? So I am on Ethernet right now. That's probably the ideal way to go. But if you have an access point that's close by, so I think in my situation right now, this would be about the same on my Wi-Fi, because I have good Wi-Fi and nobody's on it right now. But if you're able to, I think having it connected over Ethernet is going to be the way to go. But it looks pretty good. I'll give you another view here. Oops. So I mean, it's not going to be 4K and everything, but it's playable. I would liken this to I think they're kind of targeting like Xbox Series S, 1080p-ish resolutions. And what's cool is you can grab like the Backbone controller that we reviewed a while ago and just pop on your phone and try out some of these games. And what's nice is that you can play these games and get a feel for them without having to download 80 gigabytes to your console if you want, So if you want to hop in, see what the game is like, stream it, because you can stream to the console now too. So even if you have an old Xbox One, and you have Game Pass, you can stream the games via Game Pass. But it looks pretty good. And then I can hit the button here. Which one? There it goes. And I can just go over here to quit the game. And I'd say it was a good experience. So they have a good amount of the games on Game Pass are streamable. So that's a way to go with this too. And I'm missing so many comments here. So let me take a few here. With these games, it looks slightly different. Yeah, you know what? You're right about that, David. You're right, because like it would blend it a little bit more because of the CRT stuff. Jim Poots wants to know, what system is that? So this is a little B-Link computer. I'll put it back up on the carousel here. This is in the Amazon chat. This is a mini PC. Now what you just saw was Xbox Cloud streaming. And these work really well as streaming destinations because they do video exceptionally well. And Xbox, as part of their Game Pass, gives you a good amount of games here. I think let's take a look and see if we can see the whole library. Yeah, so here's all the games you can stream on it. So these are going to stream right from the Microsoft servers. But we were also running old DOS games on it. So my rule of thumb with these cheap mini PCs is that you can run a lot of older games, I would say 2006 back. You can do some things on Game Pass within reason. So we did download a few Game Pass games that are not that demanding. So those ran. A lot of the newer ones won't. But whatever you can't run, there's a good chance that you could probably stream it from them, right? So Quake, actually the original Quake would probably work fine. All right, so let's do one more thing. We're going to see if that 3DFX component works. And then I got to run. And I'm just looking through here to see how this might work. All right, so there's a bunch of like speed up stuff. We're not going to run any of that. All right, so I'm going to copy this demo over. And I'm just going to stick this on my NAS real quick. And I'm sorry I'm missing so many comments here today. Joltude has the original Day of the Tentacle CD kicking around somewhere. I'm sure I've got these all over the place. I have to really dig through and see. Mark Smith liked Heretic. That was a fun game. Eyes of Buys, can I run Crysis? You know, I don't think I even own Crysis, so I would have to hunt that down to get that going. Oh shoot, I just got rid of my, I do this from time to time. Hang on a second, folks. All right. Okay, so we're going to copy this demo over from my Mac. So we're going to go back into DOSBox for one last thing, and then I got to run. So give me a second here. I just got to grab a file off of my NAS server. And what we're going to do here is see if this DOSBox, if it can emulate the 3DFX effectively. And that'll put me back on what I was hoping to accomplish today. But these mini PCs are getting more and more useful. You know, you see just jumping around the interface. I mean, it's just, you know, if you're doing nothing but Microsoft Word and Excel and web browsing, one of these is fine for that. The fan is a little noisy on it. It does churn up. You can hear, you know, whenever the CPU is even stressed for a few moments, it'll kick on and kind of run itself a little bit. All right, so now for this, I think what I'm going to do is kind of replicate my, so I had a 3DFX card in my Pentium 90, but let's go to a Pentium 133, and let's go to mount my C drive, mount C DOS. And we're going to go to D2 demo. And there's a setup exe on here. All right, so now, here you go. This is like, so now we're moving into like the end of the DOS era. It has VR? Seriously? I got to look at this. Wow. Did you know that existed? This is 1995. There was like VR for Descent. All right, so let's test the sound here.
0, 0, 0.
Okay, so that worked. And can I change the music card? Okay, so it did general MIDI, but I don't have that configured, so we'll just go with the Sound Blaster that it detected. Okay, so let's go to exit. Now apparently, this supports the 3DFX. I don't know. I don't think it has a way of telling me if it does or not, though. Let's crank it up. Put a 640 by 480. Oh, well, they're building the commercial version. Okay. Now, apparently this supports it, so I just don't know. I have no way of knowing, right? Because there was no way to select it. It looks like it, but it's hard to say. I want to say it's not. I don't know. And how do I adjust my... Amazon says, holy, you know what, Descent. Yeah, it's running on here. And that's like kind of the point of this, too, is that there's some great DOS emulation out there. If you were a fan of, these old games, they run. And they can run really well, even on low-end hardware like this. I want to say this is not running with the 3DFX at the moment, and I don't know how to implement it, so that's part of the trick here. Let's abort the game here and see if there's another executable. Yeah, so in the setup here, it doesn't really have an option. I just think it's amazing that it's got this VR track, like this VR mode, and look at all these like headsets that were available at the time. The VFX1, the CyberMax, the eyeglasses. What? Can you imagine? I'm sure it was horrible. I'm just looking to see where the so when I downloaded this demo, it said that it supports the 3DFX. But again, I have no way of knowing if it's running with it or not. Let me see if I can find something else here. Yes, I'm with Inky Steve here. It doesn't look like it's enabled. All right, bear with me. Then I got to run. Oh, D2 Voodoo, D2 underscore. Okay, what's this? This is the official. Okay, so this demo does not appear to support that. But there's a page on archive.org that has a whole bunch more on this. Because again, this has everything built in. Yeah. All right, I'm going to have to dig into this a little bit more when I have time. Because it is time for me to get tonight's video going before I have to start getting everything else going here. City Computer. Oh wait, what's this? I went to buy some groceries and I see some dude on. Apparently, this is from City Computer. And another Amazon customer saw the same thing. Really brings back the memories on the Voodoo 3. I had a Voodoo 1 and a Voodoo 2. And then I think I went to something else. All right, so let me go back and see if I can get a demo that I know supports the 3DFX. Gunmetal ignition. I'm just trying to find something too that I'll remember. Because I'll tell you what, that 3DFX card, like the Voodoo cards, were a big deal back in the day. That's right, Quake did support that too, didn't it? You know, bear with me, because I think there was something else on that Descent thing. Well, you can actually get Descent 2 from GOG. I have to dig into this a little bit more. This looks like the version I'm running does not support it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do a little bit more on the Voodoo stuff. What I really want to do is get the Wing Commander Prophecy in Voodoo, because that did support that. So good stuff. All right, I got to run, everybody, but I appreciate everybody sticking around with me for a little bit. We'll probably come back to this because we're going to do a little bit more. It looks like our spammer came back. We're going to do a little bit more with DOSBox over the next couple of weeks. And so I am looking to explore DOSBox-X a bit more. We touched the surface, so we saw the Roland MT32 stuff working. We saw the modem working. The next step for me is the 3DFX stuff. So I'm going to come back with that at a future time. And we'll see where it goes. But yeah, I think Descent 2 is going to be the best way to work with that. Laserdisc says, don't we need a DOS glide driver? And I think so. I can't remember. But they did integrate that 3DFX glide stuff into DOSBox-X. So DOSBox-X just does it all in the background. And it doesn't come with a memory penalty either. So we'll have to see what happens. Now, Joe says a new release of DOSBox-X is coming tomorrow. All right, we'll have to check it out. And I've had similar experiences to Retro Gaming Bygones. And I've had a really good run of it on my Mac. So it's good stuff. All right. Well, everybody, that was fun. We're going to do a little bit more with this. So let me know what you want to see on DOSBox, because I am planning a video around it, because I think it's at a point, especially DOSBox-X, where it's kind of like the ultimate. It does everything. So the next step is the 3DFX and the Windows 95 stuff. So that's what we're going to explore next time. And Joe says that the updates come on the 1st of the month. Great. Yeah, the one thing they haven't implemented is the modem component on the ARM build for the Mac. And it runs great on the Mac. It really does. So on the Mac, ARM Mac, no less. So I've been running Wing Commander 3 at night on my MacBook, unplugged. It runs great. It's amazing. All right, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm going to go get tonight's video uploaded, and I will be back later in the week. And yeah, I'm looking forward to doing more on this too. I think it's a fun streaming thing to do. So we will explore this in more detail coming up. All right, everybody. And thank you all for tuning in. And again, I apologize for missing so many comments. I was just enraptured in this thing. So we'll be back. Thanks all for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye. Oops. Sorry, I'm still coughing a little bit.